Well friends, in this video we shall discuss regarding pointing and mortar. What is pointing? Final treatment with cement or lime mortar made to the joints of the masonry to provide neat appearance is termed as pointing. So here in this sketch you can see these are the joints. When these joints are properly or neatly finished with the help of mortar like this, then it is called as pointing. Final treatment with cement or lime mortar made to the joints of the masonry to provide neat appearance is termed as pointing. Normally in villages, pointing is used instead of plastering. At the same time, from architectural point of view, sometimes to beautify the structure, to give the Kashmir appearance, when bricks are having very good color, uniform color, reddish brown color, then the joints are properly finished with the help of mortar as a pointing, and then the bricks are colored with the reddish brown color. It enhances the beauty of structure. The joint on the face of stone or brick masonry are roughly filled in while the walls are being raised. So during the progress of the work, these mortar joints are properly or neatly filled. They are afterwards neatly finished off to make them watertight. Afterwards, after completion of the construction of masonry work, these are properly finished to make them watertight. The joint thus finished give a better appearance to surface and prevent rainwater from entering the interior of the masonry. So these joints will not provide a path to water to enter into the building. They will become watertight, or they will make the structure more watertight so that water will not enter into the interior of the masonry, or you can say inside the room. No dampness will be there. So this is introduction about the pointing. Why pointing is required? To prevent the moisture and the rainwater from entering the interior of masonry, already we have discussed, to improve the appearance of the structure. This is the purposes or functions of this pointing. Suitability of when pointing should be done. Pointing is preferred to plastering under following circumstances. When a smooth and even surface is not essentially required. When no finished surface, smooth surface is required, even surface required, one can go for pointing. Where it is desirable to exhibit, to view the natural beauty of the materials, bricks or stones used in construction. When natural beauty is required to be exhibited, to show, in that case, pointing is done. So normally in case of stone masonry, pointing is preferred, or pointing is done, and it gives a natural beauty in the construction. When the workmanship is neat and good, very important, when workmanship is neat and good, one can go for pointing. The main purpose of plastering, or we have discussed regarding the coating is to conceal the bad workmanship, to conceal the inferiority of the material. Plastering is done. So if material is of good quality, workmanship is of good quality, work is carried out in proper line and level, in that case pointing is preferred. Now types of pointings. The selection of particular type of pointing depends upon the type of bricks or stones used and the appearance required. Depending upon the appearance required, depending upon the opinion of the owner, suggestion from the architecture or civil engineer, pointing is done. So what are the various types? Flat or flush pointing, cut or stuck pointing, also called as weathered pointing, recess pointing, keyed pointing, or grooved or rubbed pointing, rubbed pointing, tuck pointing, V-grooved pointing, also called as bucket handle pointing. Last is a beaded pointing. So these are the various types of pointing. We shall discuss one by one in detail. Very first is flat or flush pointing. So this is the sketch of flat or flush pointing, which is flush with the outer face of the structure, or you can say wall. In this type of pointing, the mortar is pressed into the rect joints. In this type of pointing, the mortar is pressed into the rect joints, means the joints are rect. Loose material is removed and then mortar is pressed and finished off flush with the edge of the bricks or stones so as to give a smooth appearance. So very first, what is done? The loose material from the joints up to a depth of 10 mm is removed. It is rect, joints are rect, and then mortar is fill up and pressed into this joints. It is finished off and flushed with the edge of the bricks or stones. The edges are then neatly trimmed with a trowel and straight edge. Then these edges, these are properly or neatly trimmed, finished with the help of trowel, thapi and straight edge is also an instrument. This is the simplest type of pointing and extension used for finishing work. It is economical and durable because it requires less labor than all pointing. It does not afford lodging place for dust. That is important. It does not afford a lodging place as it is flush with the face of the wall, surface of the wall. It will not allow dust to get collected on the surface, or it will not provide a lodging place, rest place for the dust. So this is a flush pointing. Cut or grooved or struck pointing. In this type, the face of the pointing is kept sloping outward instead of keeping vertical. So here, face of the pointing instead of keeping vertical, the slope is given. Outward slope is given. This is the outward slope instead of keeping vertical. So due to this, what will happen? Dust will not get accumulated on this. If any rainwater is there, it will get flushed off, discharged off. To achieve this, the mortar is first filled up into the rect joints and then top horizontal joint is pressed inside by an amount of 3 to 6 mm. So this amount is 3 to 6 mm with a patient tool. Patient tool is used. Thus, the joint is finished sloping from top of the joint to its bottom. This type of pointing has the advantage of not allowing the rainwater to get collected in the recess. So water will not get collected in this recess. Next is recessed pointing. In this pointing, the face of the mortar joint is pressed inside by means of a suitable tool and is left vertical instead of being made inclined. In the previous, we have seen it is made inclined with the amount of 3 to 6 mm. Right? In this type of pointing, the face of the mortar joint is pressed inside. It is kept vertical. It is pressed inside by means of suitable tool and it is kept vertical. This pointing is provided when face work of good textured brick with good quality mortar is used. So rich mortar is used in case of this type of pointing. But difficulty is that here dust will get accumulated. Keyed or grooved or rubbed pointing. In this type of pointing, the joints are first finished with the face of the wall and then the semicircular notch is formed by a tool known as pointer. Pointer is used to form this type of groove or this type of notch. This type of pointing is also known as a rub pointing, as semicircular notch is formed by rubbing the middle of the joint by a steel tool. This type of pointing gives an attractive appearance to the structure and is recommended for superior work, particularly for vertical joint of the wall. So normally in case of this, this rich mortar is used in the front portion. This is the normal mortar which is used for construction work. One maybe 1:6 or 1:7. So here 1:4, 1:5 mortar is used to a depth of 10 mm and then it is rubbed with the help of special steel tool. And this type of notch is formed, circular notch or this type of triangular notch is formed. It gives good appearance with compared to other type of pointings. Tuck pointing. In this type of pointing, mortar is first prepared in the rect joints and is finished flush with the face of wall. So here in case of this, also rich mortar is used. The joints are rect, loose material is removed, inferior quality material is removed, and then it is finished up to a face with the help of trowel. While the press mortar is still green, a narrow channel groove having width 5 mm and depth 3 mm is formed. So when this mortar is wet, it is green. So here notch is formed The width of the notch is 5 mm and depth is 3 mm at the center of the joint. This groove is then filled in with while lime putty containing small amount of silver sand, which is left to project the face of the joint by 3 mm. Then this groove, whatever groove is made of 5 mm by 3 mm, it is properly and neatly filled up with the help of lime putty, which contains small amount of silver sand. Due to this, what will happen? As lime putty and silver sand is used, and it is allowed to project 3 mm out of the face, beyond the face of the wall, so it beautifies the structure. It gives ornamental appearance to the face with the help of this. As silver sand is used, it is having little bit shining. Tuck pointing afford a neat and attractive appearance, but the filled part is not very durable. The difficulty with this pointing is that this fill-up part is not durable. With a slight, you can say, disturbance, it may get damage. This is the difficulty with this tuck pointing, but it gives very good appearance. Then V-groove pointing, similar to recess pointing. This is V-groove pointing. This type of pointing is provided by forming a V-shaped groove inside the mortar of the joint with the partial tool, steel or iron jointer. Nail is also used. This pointing is commonly recommended for brickwork in case of government building. In case of government building, this type of V-groove pointing is preferred in almost all the buildings which are constructed during the regime of British before 1911. All the buildings are finished with this type of pointing, V-groove pointing. So here in case of this, the practice was this joint is filled up with the help of mortar. So up to a depth of 10 to 12 mm, it is removed, it is wrecked out and then finished with the help of ridge mortar, and with the partial tool, steel tool, this type of V-notch, V-groove is made. It is called as V-groove pointing. Next is beaded pointing, similar to tuck pointing, beaded pointing. In this type of pointing, the rake joints are first filled up with mortar and finished off flush with the face of the wall, and then beaded, that is small ball of steel or iron rod is formed in the middle of the joint. So the joint is racked out, filled up with the help of good material, and then when it is weight, here a small ball of steel or iron is formed in middle of the joint. This type of pointing, though has a good appearance, it is liable to damage. It is also not durable, similar to tuck pointing. So this is a beaded pointing. As this is curved in shape, semicircular shape, it gives very good appearance, very good appearance, attractive appearance in case of building. So this is all about various types of pointing. Hope you have understood. So normally short note is asked, or sometimes various types of pointing are asked in the exam. Now coming to mortar, already we have discussed mortar. In case of masonry, brick masonry, mortar is nothing but it is the plastic mixture of cement, sand and water. So what is mortar? Mortar is a workable paste used to bind construction blocks together and fill the gaps between them. The word comes from Latin moratorium, meaning crush. Mortar may be used to bind masonry blocks of stone, bricks, etc. Mortar becomes hard when it sets, resulting in a rigid aggregate structure. Mortar can also be used to fix or point masonry when the original mortar has washed away. Mortars are usually named according to the binding material used in their preparation. They are essentially required for masonry work, plastering work and pointing work. So what is mortar? Mortar is nothing but it is a mixture of cement. Normally binding material you can say instead of cement. Now yes, here at a glance we are discussing the broad. Mortar is nothing but it is a mixture of binding material, whatever it may be. Cement may be there, lime may be there, surkey or any type of other gypsum may be there. So binding material plus sand plus water paste. It is used for construction work, it is used for masonry work, it is used for plastering work, it is used for plastic work. So this is it. Now functions of mortar. Very first function is to bind together the bricks or stones properly so as to provide strength to the structure. First function of mortar is you work as a binding material for bricks or stone and to form a homogeneous mass of structure. which will resist all the loads coming over it without any sort of disintegration or failure, or you can say damage. Now coming to various types of mortar. So based on the bonding material use, based on the pillar material use, in mortar binding material play key role. The quality, durability and strength of the mortar will mainly depend on the quantity and quality of binding material use. So mortars are classified as cement mortar, lime mortar, gypsum mortar, gauge mortar and surkey mortar. So here mortar is a mixture of binding material, sand and water. Here sand is an inert material. It is used as a filler material only to increase the amount of water. So what is cement mortar? In this type, cement is used as a binding material along with sand. Or you can say fine aggregate. Adulterant, it is called as adulterant. The proportion of cement and sand is decided based on the specified durability and working conditions. Maybe 1 in 3, 4, 5, 6. Cement mortar will give high strength and resistivity against water. This proportion of cement to sand may vary from 1:2 to 1:6. So here you can say this is the cement mortar prepared from cement, sand and water and used for masonry work, as well as used for pointing work also. So here you can see very good paste of this mortar, cement, sand and water used for construction work. Next is lime mortar. In case of lime mortar, lime is used as a binding material. Here binder is a lime and that's what is called as a lime mortar. There are two types of lime, mainly fat lime and hydraulic lime. Normally fat lime is used, hydraulic lime is also used. And here in lime mortar requires 2 to 3 times of sand. It is used for dry work. So proportion is not like is hydraulic lime and sand is 1:2 ratio will give good results in damp conditions and also suitable for waterlogged areas. The lime mortar has a high porosity, so it can be placed easily. It provides easiness for placing. So here you can say this is the lime mortar and here this wall is constructed with the help of lime mortar. Now coming to gypsum mortar. Gypsum mortar consists of plaster and soft sand as binding material and fine aggregate. In the Egyptian ancient structures called as pyramids, gypsum mortar is used. So normally in India, gypsum is not used for preparation of mortar, but it is used for plastering work. It is used for decorative purpose directly. Gypsum mortar will have low durability in damp condition. That is the problem. So it cannot sustain the atmospheric condition when be exposed to the climatic conditions. In that case, due to dampness, its binding will get loosened and it will get fall down. Then gauge mortar. Gauge mortar consists of lime, cement and sand. Here binding materials are lime and cement. In specified proportion it is used and that's what is called as gauge mortar. So here you can see very good quality. This gauge mortar is formed with the lime, cement and sand. We knew that lime mortar has high porosity and cement has high strength than lime. So whenever we mix these both in some proportion, then the result will give two properties in economical way. So gauge mortar is preferred than lime mortar or cement mortar. So this is also called as composite mortar or lime cement mortar. Usually 1:6 to 1:8 ratio of cement to lime will be used to prepare gauge mortar. Cement to lime, so 1 part of cement and 6 to 8 parts of lime are used for preparation of this gauged mortar. Now coming to last type of mortar, that is surkey mortar. This classification or this type is based on the surkey is used as a binder. Surkey is finely powdered burnt clay. What is surkey? Finely powdered burnt clay which is free from any admixture impurities. It will give more strength than sand and also it is cheaply available in the market. Surkey mortar consists of lime, surkey and water. So in case of this, similar to lime mortar, instead of sand, surkey is used and that's why it is called as surkey mortar. Surkey is used as as a fine aggregate or sand or alternate. Sometimes half amount of sand and half amount of surki is also used depending upon the requirement. So this is all about pointing and surki. With this fifth unit is completed with all respect.